Okay.
Hello, guys. This is the second pilot episode of Rasslin and Logic, this new podcast that was starting up. A week from today, the first episode will debut on the 5th of December. And today, for our second pilot episode, we're going to be reviewing WWE Survivor Series. So, match one, the first match, Team Raw versus Team SmackDown, elimination tag team match for the men. So Team Raw is consisting of Keith Lee, Braun Strowman. I've written in my notes Baldhead Strowman. Oh, I forgot to introduce you. Here's my co-host, Josh Jenkins.
Hello.
So anyway, this is Keith Lee, Baldhead Strowman, AJ Styles, Matt Riddle, and Sheamus. And then on the SmackDown side is Kevin Owens, Otis, Jey Uso, Baron Corbin, and Seth Rollins, the Messiah, as people like to call him. So anyway, sequence of events here. AJ Styles comes out and makes his entrance with this big, giant, 7-foot bodyguard named Omos. And there's this really cool 3D graphic of the P1 logo. You know, that symbol that he has on his hand.
Yeah.
It was a 3D symbol of that. I really like that and the details on it. I really do like these 3D effects that the WWE have been using as of late, ever since SmackDown got on Fox.
Yeah.
And then AJ Styles is cutting a promo about how his team is gonna win, but then he's interrupted by Matt Riddle, and then he's coming out, and he's doing his walk and his flip-flops, and then the Thunderdome guys are chanting, bro, but it sounds so phony and fake, and it's piped in, because, you know, Kevin Dunn is doing all this. So now Keith Lee comes out to what sounds to me like a brand new theme music. For what it is, I really like. I hate rap, I can't stand it, but for what it was, it sounded like a much better theme song than he debuted with first time he came on Raw.
It's a much better substitute than the one that he had previously. But I don't know as of yet if it's better than the one he had in NXT.
You know, I think the one in NXT had was better.
Okay.
To me, basically, they're the same. Based on the reaction that the NXT one got, I'd say that one was better. But in terms of the actual song, I think this one he's got now is a bit better. So anyway,
Okay.
you know, hothead, baldhead Strowman comes out to his generic, boring rock music. Screw him. And Sheamus comes out now, and Michael Cole says that Sheamus 10 times in Survivor Series, and I believe you fact-checked this and called him out on what he said. So could you elaborate on that?
I certainly can. Now, Michael Cole said 10, and he was 1 away because Sheamus actually has competed at 9 times at the Survivor Series. So Michael Cole was just 1 off there. Just to elaborate, Sheamus competed at the 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, and now 2020.
So now now Team SmackDown is coming out. The first guy being Jey Uso, and he's coming out to his music, and Paul Heyman is watching from the back on a TV screen that they have in their backstage. Kevin Owens comes out behind him, and Otis comes out, Otis Dozovich, and now Seth Rollins is coming out to the screen, not the screen, the stage, the arena, the ring, or whatever. And apparently they call him the savior of SmackDown. And okay, that's a nice acronym, a bit a little cringy, but okay. And not King. Why would anybody take him seriously as a king? He can't do it like Lawler used to.
I don't think he's still referred to as King Corbin. I think he's gone back to being Baron Corbin.
Yeah, this king gimmick, it was presented so badly, and all the goofy stuff he's done, the dog food, I think they should just scrap it now. It's just gotten old. Nobody remembers it. It was literally just a gimmick made out of him winning the King of the Ring last year, which I thought he did really well in. He really showed himself to be a good in-ring wrestler, but other than that, his character is just not that good. And Corbin, I don't really like the music that he has now. With I like the music that he had before this one. He still sort of has the same one, but with royal fanfare stuck in between. I really don't like how it interrupts the actual song that he has. And now the bell rings, match starts, and AJ Styles and Jey Uso are locking up. And then Uso pushes AJ Styles into the corner. They continue locking up and having some scientific wrestling. And then AJ hits the ropes and gives Uso a drop kick. And they get up, and Jey Uso makes a little comeback and gives him some uppercuts. They have some strikes and reversals. And then Uso gets a 2 count. Then he hits a Samoan drop. And then he tries to pin again for 1 count. Then he goes to tag in Corbin. He gives AJ a clothesline, some right hands, and Otis tags in. He tries to run into the corner. AJ evades, and then he goes to tag Matt Riddle. And then Riddle comes in, and Otis shoulder tackles him. And then one of them tries to get a suplex. I can't remember exactly. Could you maybe tell me quickly?
I'm not sure which one it was, but you know.
Okay, anyway, so Riddle tries to lock in a sleeper on, he actually does, but Otis is too strong and throws him down. Riddle kicks him, but again he's too strong and he starts dancing goofy, and Otis gives Riddle a headbutt. Then he tags in Kevin Owens, and wow, Kevin Owens, he was like working on Matt Riddle's leg, and he was stomping on it, and trying to break it, and working his leg like crazy, and then Riddle gets a rope break, and they're forced to break the hold, and then what were you gonna say?
Kevin wasn't targeting his leg; he was targeting his feet.
Yes, but what I saw, he was also working on his leg. So then Riddle goes to tag in Sheamus, and Kevin Owens is hesitant to tag Seth Rollins in. Rollins has his hand out like this. It's just standing there quietly. And then Owens tags him in. And then Rollins is up on his knees. And then he's like, come on, do it for the greater good. And then he allows Sheamus to beat him up and eliminate him. And then somehow AJ tags himself in after Sheamus eliminates. It's just like there was no camera shot, and how do you know if it was a legal tag or an illegal tag? Somehow he got tagged in, and then they went. Team SmackDown went to outside. They had a huddle. So did Raw. They were on the apron. And then Baldhead tagged himself in. It was on the outside, and does his run and runs into everybody, and then a Baldhead throws Corbin in the ring, and he's yelling at his team like Sam Kinison to come on, work together, work like a freaking team. And then he tags Riddle, and then he's kicking Corbin. His MMA kicks, really nice kicks. And then Corbin makes a comeback, gives him some right hands, and then Riddle goes tag. Riddle actually sold for that lost right hand that Corbin gave him, and when he was selling, he fell down to tag Keith Lee, and then Corbin also goes to tag in Otis, and they I think this was the best part of the match. I was like, and Lee and Otis were locking up, and they were having an actual wrestling match in a sea, the diamond in a sea of dog feces. And I made a note that if Otis was presented as an actual threat instead of being given a goofy gimmick and acting like goofball, maybe we could debate him winning a major title in WWE. What do you think about that?
Well, the thing about Otis with me is that he is primarily a tag team wrestler, and the thing I have with tag team wrestlers is that they should only compete in tag team matches in the tag team that they are a part of. If you are a member of a tag team and you are now wrestling a singles match, and you're basically going against the entire purpose and point of what a tag team is. So Otis, to me, look. I never wanted Otis to break up with Tucker Knight because I thought that they were better together than they were separate. I never understood why they went through with that ridiculous relationship storyline between Otis and Mandy Rose, which I was always against. And then they had him win the Money in the Bank. I just well they call it the Money in the Bank. So, and then they've basically wasted him for all these months. They've wasted the Money in the Bank on him, and they just don't have any actual plans in place for what they actually want to do with. Just look to me, Otis should never have broken up with the Heavy Machinery tag team that he was in. That is what he should still be doing to this day, but he's not. So
the thing I have with the relationship angle, I thought it kind of got Otis sort of over, and it got sympathy on him. You wanted to see him get the girl. I couldn't help but feel, I couldn't help but sympathize with Otis. You may disagree with me, but that's what I thought of the relationship angle. It was a bit goofy, but in my eyes, it sort of got Otis over, and maybe that's why they gave him the Money in the Bank briefcase to see. Oh yay, Otis got the briefcase, but still, even if the fans like him, it still depends on the way you've presented him.
Absolutely.
And they presented him like a goofball, so nobody would have, had he actually challenged for a major title, nobody would have taken him seriously. Hold on, let me just get rid of this.
Well, I don't know about you, Kgabo, but I don't think I ever will take Otis seriously in WWE. Now, if Otis were to leave the company and go to a different wrestling company, then perhaps I will give him some chance to shine. But for the remainder of his time in WWE, I'm not really ever going to take him seriously.
Yeah. So. Anyway, so Lee and Otis are having a wrestling match. They're actually working like big guys. They're not doing the stuff. They're not going with this agenda that you're a big guy and you have to do small guy moves. Like it's been milked to death. Like nobody gives a damn if you're a big guy and you can do cruiserweight moves. And they were both working like big men.
Especially now in a time where they do that basically every single week as it is. So it's not special for when a big guy does do those cruiserweight type moves because we see them do it every single week. So
every week on every show, whether it's NXT, Raw, SmackDown, or even AEW with Luchasaurus, he also does. he refuses to work like a big monster, and he does. We'll talk about Luchasaurus when we do AEW if he appears on there. So anyway, bald head Strowman tags in, does some strikes, and a really sloppy drop kick. By the way, the drop kick that AJ did, he also messed up a little bit. But then AJ Styles tagged back in, and he's doing some submissions. Otis does desperation moves some kind to separate himself from AJ, and then he tags Owens in, and then Owens ducks a clothesline from AJ and gives him some chops, some really good chops, and AJ Styles hits the ropes and gives a high kick to Owens, and Owens really does this nice looking back body drop where he throws AJ over his head, and then AJ comes back and gives Owens a boot in the corner. And then Owens, then in the middle of the ring, gives him a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker. I like that. I really like that. That looked nice.
Yeah.
and he gets near fall, 2 count, and then for some reason, AJ Styles is selling outside. And then for some reason, Keith Lee just decides to come in, and he didn't even tag himself in. He tries to attack Owens while AJ's selling on the floor. And Owens gives 3 guys in Team Raw a stunner. Then AJ comes back and gives Owens a phenomenal forearm and beats Kevin Owens. This AJ Styles, Kevin Owens was really good in this match. I thought I haven't really seen any full-length Kevin Owens matches. This is really the first full-length Kevin Owens match that I've seen, and I like him a lot more now. And then Corbin tags in and gives I think AJ end of days, almost pins AJ, but Team Raw comes to save him, and then Sheamus tries to come in. He didn't tag either, and he gave Sheamus a deep 6. Then AJ Styles gives Corbin a Pele kick, and then he went outside, and Matt Riddle came in on the top turnbuckle and gave Corbin moonsault and beat him, and he got revenge for what happened last year, 2019, when Riddle was still in NXT and he was still booked properly. And now Riddle is fighting Jey Uso, and then Sheamus makes an illegal tag. I'm not sure how exactly he tagged it, but I had a problem with how he tagged himself in. Maybe you can elaborate on that after I finish reviewing this match. So anyway, he gives Riddle a brogue kick for a 2 count, and then is that Uso? Oh, my bad. He gives Uso a brogue kick for a 2 count, and then he's beating on Uso on the apron, giving him those things, I don't know what they're called. What's going on here?
They're called the 10 beats of the Belgium,
Okay.
I think.
And then Uso comes back in the ring and gives Sheamus a nice looking step up in security. Otis tagged and he was shoulder tackling everybody, and it's like at that point in the match, like, this makes no sense. And I fast forward through the rest of the match, and I wrote that it was like one of these Young Bucks matches on AEW that they like. Okay, sorry for that. Minor technical disruption. My storage got clogged up. I had to move the file to my other drive that I have on this computer. So anyway, I said that. I'm gonna fast forward through the rest of this match, and I said that it was like a Young Bucks match that they have on All Elite Wrestling.
Yeah.
And now the second match, champion versus champion match. This is where I'm gonna need you to take out your notes on this match. Raw Tag Team Champions, the New Day, versus the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Street Profits. So New Day is coming out dressed up as characters from the Xbox game Gears of War 5. They were going to show the Gears of War 5 ad, but on the feed that I watched this show on, it didn't play. They cut.
No.
The stream that I looked at, they cut it out because it would. Yeah. So anyway, Street Profits are Gorilla. They're rapping and doing a really cringy promo.
I did not like this at all. They were basically shouting the entire time.
Hold on. They were cutting a cringy promo while highlighting Undertaker's major opponents he's had through the years, i.e. Shawn Michaels, HBK, whatever, Heartbreak Kid, whatever you want to call him, Triple H. And then they were talking about how they're going to create their own legacy. Really, the only thing I liked about this segment is how energetic the Street Profits were and how hyped up they were to try to lift people's spirits up after that garbage match that we just saw, that we just finished viewing. And I wrote there, I'll let you review this one, so if you will.
Oh, I think I will. And by the way, are we going to skip over the pre-show match? You know, that Battle Royal?
Yes, we will.
Okay. Oh, by the way, as they were doing the backstage promo in gorilla position, I noticed that they threw it when they were saying the best.
Oh yeah,
you
mentioned that it was a knock on Santana and Ortiz on AEW. Yeah, Ortiz goes the best of the best. Except that was how Montez Ford did it. So anyway, go on.
Okay. Hang on. Okay, so we have Angelo Dawkins and Xavier Woods starting off the match for each team. And with the way I've typed out my notes, I haven't really gone move for move. Because I was mainly focusing on if the tags were legal or illegal.
By the way, just hold on a second. I thought I did watch this match, but I didn't have time to take notes on it.
It's okay.
I did enjoy this match. The wrestling was good. I don't know about the logic. This is why we're called Rasslin and Logic, because I want a good wrestling match, and Josh up here wants the thing to make sense and be logical. So anyway,
yeah. I know that both Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford hit a flapjack on Kofi Kingston across the canvas, and then Angelo connected a drop down body splash onto Kofi into the pin for the 1 count kick out. Angelo.
And then in the middle of the match, which you might be getting to, Angelo did this really nice a comeback where he was like going around the ring like a big guy, suplexing everyone. And he did this nice jumping back thing. I actually have it recorded here. Let me find it. Here's it. Hold on. Here's.
He's the front friendly territory, and he does. Tag's made. Dawkins to meet Woods. And Dawkins has been all business ever since the opening bell.
Oh!
Deceptive size and agility. From Angelo Dawkins. How to miss the 260-pounder. However. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. It's a two-step toe. Dawkins brain.
That's the comeback that I was talking about. You may be getting to that, but I really liked that. That was freaking awesome. That looked great.
I do have that sequence of moves on the notes here. But sometime before that, Kofi Kingston charges over the top rope, and he does that diving plancher, but he does it where he lands on his back. So that dive where Kofi will jump over and then flip onto his back and then land on his opponent?
No, I haven't seen that many. I haven't seen a full-length Kofi match in months, so I'm not sure about that.
Well, he did that here.
Okay.
He did that onto Montez Ford on the outside. In the corner, in the New Day's corner, Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston do what I like to consider a boxing sequence onto Montez Ford's stomach against the corner. Now, this was a sign of a heelish tactic.
Yeah. That's what I asked you about. It's like I was asking, is it me or is the New Day working like heels again? They're giving us flashbacks of 2015 when they were heels.
Yeah. I'm not going to say that they are heels, because I don't think they are yet, but I think this is a sign of what is to come. Sometime after this, Kofi Kingston grabs a plastic red cup that the Street Profits has, and he kicks. That's right. He kicks it like a punt kick, like it's a football,
like a rugby ball, but then it's just floating in the air and didn't go that far.
Yeah. By the way, about the plastic cups, Why are they always empty?
I have no idea. I don't know why they. That's just a gimmick, I guess.
Well, I don't understand what their gimmick actually is, because most of the time, to me, they are promoting smoking. I don't understand what their gimmick actually is. Like, anyway, at some point in the match, Montez Ford slams Kofi down with a leaping DDT across the canvas, and then they make a few tags. Any other moves here? Yes. Angelo Dawkins connects a few exploder suplexes onto Xavier and Kofi, and then he hits Xavier with this beautiful move. It's like a twisting butterfly suplex, because he lifted him in the butterfly suplex position, and then he like twisted him in like a neck breaker. I thought that was an incredible move.
Okay,
he got a 2 count on that. He got a 2 count on that.
Okay, move on. Go.
And this is Xavier with a spinebuster onto Montez Ford's.
Connection issues. You still there? Oh boy, hold on here. Oh man. Oh, I'm really sorry about this. It appears you disconnected. Where exactly were you again?
I don't know what happened there, but okay. As I was saying, going back to my notes here. God damn it! Fuck you, Discord. Fuck you. Making me have to find these notes all over again. Fuck you know. I was on about, okay, yeah. So the spinebuster into the electric chair is where I left off there. Right. Okay. Montez Ford now does a backflip off of Angelo's chest, and then drops Xavier down with a sliced bread for a 2 count.
That looked pretty nice, actually.
Yeah, he basically used his tag team partner like a corner for him to do the backflip on to hit the move. They do show some good tag team chemistry, which is a good thing to actually have. Xavier and Kofi hit their tag team finisher, the Midnight Hour, but it only gets a 2 count which I was annoyed at, because if you're going to hit a finisher, then that
you
should
finish the match. That's the thing I have a problem, and every promotion does it. Every wrestler on every show does it. They kick out of finishers ridiculous amount of times, and it makes a finisher look a point. It makes it look. It devalues the finisher, and it makes it look less effective.
Yeah. Kofi now connects a trifecta of boom drops that he does onto Montez's stomach. Oh, but by the way, the New Day targets Montez Ford's stomach throughout the entire match. I don't think I mentioned that, but I am now. Angelo Dawkins drops Kofi down with a spinebuster across the canvas, and then Montez does a beautiful 5-star frog splash onto Kofi, and then Montez actually sells his stomach being hurt. Now that surprised me, because I don't really see a lot of selling in wrestling today.
Yeah.
So that was...
People do big moves and they never sell. And they just instantly get up from it, like Matt Jackson does. We rip on the Young Bucks a lot. I actually feel bad for them. I'm surprised they block us on our Twitter. Anyway, what? It's stupid to kick out and to kick out a finish, but not just that, but to also not sell big moves. Anyway, what were you saying?
After Montez hits the beautiful 5-star frog splash and then slowly goes for the pin, Kofi kicks out at the count of 2. Kofi now hits Montez Ford with his SOS signature move for a 2-count save by Angelo Dawkins, which tells me if Angelo did not save Montez Ford from that pinfall attempt, then Kofi would have got the win. That is what that is telling me.
That's the same thing as the previous match. Had the guys not saved AJ from getting pinned, Team SmackDown would have won anyway.
Well, yeah, that is true. There was a moment in the match, basically towards the end, where Montez Ford, he hits Kofi Kingston with his own finisher, the Trouble in Paradise, and then Xavier drops Montez down with a military press gutbuster for a 2-count, and then we go right to the end of this match, in which Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford slam Xavier Woods down with a diving blockbuster / electric chair combination for the 3-count and the win, which means the final result is that the Street Profits, who are the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, defeated the New Day, who are the Raw Tag Team Champions, via pinfall.
And I'm not sure why they still have 2 tag team titles. They should have one tag team championship that floats across even NXT, because they have some tag teams. If they merge all those divisions together, they can have one big tag team division. They should do the same for the women. Have one women's championship across all the brands.
Well, look, you can't add NXT into that mix because NXT, to me, is completely separate to anything that Raw and SmackDown are doing. Because to me, as I've always seen it, right, NXT is supposed to be the developmental system. It's supposed to be the developmental brand. So it should be separate to anything that Raw and SmackDown are doing, but at the same time, it shouldn't be excluded from Raw and SmackDown for when somebody from NXT does get called up, because that happens every single time. Every single time somebody from NXT comes up to Raw or SmackDown, they get completely changed from what they were doing on NXT, which makes NXT completely pointless in the process. Oh, jeez.
That's Vince McMahon for you.
Yeah, because he wants full control, because...
Yeah, he changes the guys because it's not his creation. I get his...
But it is, though.
I get his ambition, but he needs to not let that ambition get in the way of what they should do with the guys.
Yeah. And the thing about that is, right, technically speaking, NXT is in Vince's vision for what he wants his company to be, because he was the one who basically set that up to begin with. NXT is a part of his company. So anything that happens in NXT is basically under his overall vision of what he wants his company to be in the future on Raw and SmackDown. And yet he just completely goes against that every single time. And I just don't understand why that is, that he does that.
Yeah. So, now, the third match on this card.
Yes.
Another champion versus champion match. The United States champion from Raw, Bobby Lashley, with the Hurt Business.
No. Bobby Lashley is the United States champion.
Okay. Versus the Intercontinental champion from SmackDown, Sami Zayn.
Yes.
In terms of wrestling, this to me was an okay match to get Bobby Lashley not over, but to make him look strong, to make him look like a badass, to make him look more intimidating, because this is the best that he's been presented since he came back in 2018. But Sami Zayn was being a little bit too much of a chicken shit heel, and he was being goofy, and so were the commentators. But other than that, I thought I liked this match. It was a nice beat up job for Lashley to make him look strong, but they also made Sami Zayn and the Intercontinental Championship look worthless, because and I really like the Hurt Business. It's a black heel group that destroys everybody, but with what I've heard, there's not that many baby faces for them to go against. So they have to do the same matches every week until they find new guys. Anyway.
Well, I mean, they have to do the same matches every week because they don't have anybody else to go against.
Yeah, because they have no baby faces to go up against the Hurt Business. But other than that, I think the Hurt Business is a really good faction.
Yeah. I did not like this match because, to begin with, this match never should have even happened. Because I hate champion versus champion matches, because that always means a champion is going to lose, and a champion should never lose a match in which a championship is not being defended in. Otherwise, what's the point of being a champion in that case?
Yes. So anyway, a backstage promo with Roman Reigns, and he's shouting at Jey Uso for losing his match earlier in the night.
Are we going to skip over this match then?
Skip over which match?
Sami Zayn against Bobby Lashley.
No, that was my review. I didn't have time to take notes of it, so I just wrote my thoughts and what I thought about it. Yeah, so Roman Reigns is shouting at Jey Uso for losing his match, and he tells him to leave the arena because he doesn't have time for losers. And this promo sounds really scripted, but still, I thought Roman had a good delivery. He tried to make it sound believable. And he has a nice, deep, manly voice. And he's built like a grown man and not a small child.
Yeah. And the thing about this promo is, right, it all gets made redundant in what happens in the main event match. Because everything that Roman is saying to Jey Uso, right, about being a loser, about not being able to get the win by himself, about not being able to be the man. Right? Everything that Roman is saying to Jey, right, Roman basically contradicts everything he's saying later on in the main event, where he basically accepts the loser Jey Uso to help Roman win, when Roman's entire point is about him being able to win by himself.
Yeah. I never really took that into detail because I was so mesmerized by that match, but we'll get there after these next few matches. The fourth match on this card, another champion versus champion match. The Raw Women's Champion Asuka versus the SmackDown Women's Champion Sasha Banks. So what?
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah.
Okay. So Asuka's coming out to her music. I actually like her theme song. Sasha Banks comes out after her, and I like Corey Graves comes and say, "It's boss time," and like, what the hell? Now even Corey Graves is told to say it's boss time. It's so stupid.
Yeah, and also I just want to bring this up as you've mentioned the commentary here, right? Michael Cole mentions on commentary that Sasha Banks has never pinned Asuka or made Asuka to submit. That is what Michael Cole said as Sasha was making her entrance into this match, okay? Now, this is wrong. This is false information. Michael Cole is wrong again here. Sasha Banks has actually pinned Asuka. She pinned her in a mixed tag team match where she was teaming with Dolph Ziggler against Asuka and Drew McIntyre on the June 29th, 2020 episode of Raw. Sasha Banks has pinned Asuka before, no matter what Michael Cole tells you.
Okay, so anyway, so the bell rings, match starts, and the girls are locking up and doing some mat wrestling. And then they get up, and Asuka's doing her yelling at, and I wrote down that I really hate when she screams and yells like that. It's so stupid. It makes her look goofy. So then they were doing moves back and forth. I was gonna fast forward through this match completely because it was like an hour or two before we started recording, and I wanted to cut as much time off as I can so I can start this review as early as possible. Okay. So now I actually decided to fast forward a few minutes into the match. So then I fast forward to when Asuka was running into the corner, and then Sasha countered and gave her a boot in the corner, and then they go to the ropes, and Sasha is hanging on to the ropes like this, and she's got her legs on Asuka's shoulders, and she gives Asuka head scissors off the top rope. And they're on the apron. They're fighting on the apron. They're reversing each other's moves, and then Asuka finally managed to kick Sasha on the apron, and then she gives Sasha a hip attack, and she falls onto the floor, and then she's selling, and then Asuka brings her back up and tries to put her into the ring, and as she's rolling on the edge of the match, she turns around and kicks Asuka in the head. And then fast forward a little bit, and then to where actually I didn't fast forward. She got up and then hit the ropes and gave Asuka a baseball slide drop kick. And then on the floor in front of the stage, and Sasha tries to suplex Asuka, but then Asuka counters and puts on the barricade, and then Sasha Banks gets up on the barricade and tries to give Asuka a Meteora, but then Asuka gave her a double knees, a counter. Then the girls get back in the ring and they're selling while the replay is on. And then Asuka tries to... they actually got in back... never mind. Asuka then tries to pin Sasha, and then Sasha Banks rolls back and tries to give Asuka a pin, and then Asuka is trying to knock Banks off the apron, and she misses. Then Banks kicks Asuka in the head. Then she gives Asuka a backstabber for a 2 count. Okay, sorry for that. I'm gonna try to fix this going forward. Maybe I'll try to set it to a low resolution if I can't move my captures folder to my D drive where I have more space. So anyway, Josh, where were we?
We were discussing the match between Asuka against Sasha Banks.
Well, where exactly though? I think they were on the outside. Hold on, wait.
Hang on. You know what you could do to check on?
Yes. I found it. So now Sasha Banks gives her a Meteora in the corner, and then she tries to give Asuka a stomp. She misses, but then she's still She's still watchful and blocks in a Banks statement. Tries to make Asuka submit, and then Asuka gives double knees to Sasha Banks in between the ropes for a 2 count. And then Asuka gives Sasha a ankle lock. Then they do back and forth pin attempts. Then Sasha gives Asuka a kick. And then Asuka tries to give Sasha a backslide for a 2 count. And then a kick by Asuka, a really nice looking kick. And then Sasha Banks pins Asuka. 1, 2, 3, and Sasha Banks wins, and she's the women's champion of WWE. So, and now, what do you think of this match? I thought this was an okay match. It wasn't great. I'm not gonna remember it in the next few months. But what?
To me, this was the best match on the entire show.
I don't know. Maybe it's not the style that I like. I'm used to the Rhea Ripley style. If she's any match she's on, I'll watch it. We're gonna watch War Games, and she's in one of the matches, so we're definitely watching that. No matter what happens. So now,
it's okay. I like this. I like this match a lot because it was a psychological warfare between who is the better wrestler than the other. I really liked the dynamic that they had between them about trying to one up each other. Like anything you can do, I can do better. I really liked the way that they went about doing that, and I really like this match because it was mostly technical, submissive style of wrestling that I really enjoy a lot.
Yeah, it was a bit on the slower side. I like the quicker pace submission style matches like we saw on Ring of Honor, which we'll get to. So now we go from what I thought was a decent match to the goofiest segment on the show. It was hilariously bad.
Oh God! Can we please just skip over this?
and then this is the gobbledygook.
Oh, for God's sake!
This big giant turkey, chicken, or whatever you want to call him. He's a 24/7 champion, and he gets pinned by Akira Tozawa, who I'm gonna rant a little bit on after this. And R-Truth comes out of nowhere and pins him to become apparently 45-time 24/7 champion. I'm like, what the hell is this? Why is this on the show? And I wrote down, I hate how Akira Tozawa is being presented on the main roster. Like when they had the Cruiserweight tournament, he was on NXT and he was having great matches. He looked like an actual guy that could be a contender for the Cruiserweight Championship. And then he goes on Raw and does some stupid BS and that nobody laughs at. It's like, and it exposes that the business in a way, how the different people book a certain person. Like
Yes.
Triple H books Tozawa to be serious, but then he goes to Vince and he gets booked like a goofball. I'm so
Well,
sick
because
of this.
yeah, because Triple H likes to book the guys as actual wrestlers. Vince likes to book them like they are actors on his movie script.
Yeah. Anyway,
So
the women's elimination, yeah, we'll definitely skip this. There are way too many women that I don't like on here. So they can forget about me giving them any time on this pay-per-view. And now to the main event. Holy mackerel, this was so good. I was jumping around after, like, I was speechless after this. Now, from this, by the way, this is another champion versus champion match. WWE champion from Raw, Drew McIntyre, versus the Universal champion from SmackDown, Roman Reigns.
Yes.
So
by the way, before you continue on there, look, outside of the colour and outside of the wording, what is the actual difference between the Universal Championship and the WWE Championship? Because to me, they look exactly the same. So I
said that to you yesterday. They don't even put effort into their belts. They don't even try to make their belts look different. And I said that there shouldn't be two world champions to begin with, because who is going to be the guy if you have two world champions?
Well, that's the problem. See, Kgabo, is that because you have two separate brands, you can't have just one main champion. If you have them all be all in one, then you can have that main champion and then the mid card champion and then the lower card. You know how it goes, right?
Yeah.
But because, and I must stress this out here, because you have two separate brands, you can't have just one champion, because otherwise one show is going to be neglected, and I don't like that. So
okay, I was thinking I'll actually do that in a future episode of the podcast, so stay tuned for that. So anyway, just from the opening video package to the actual match, and how Roman was made to look strong, but Drew also had his moments, and I really, really, really loved this match. So, like, at the beginning, the video package, I was like, my gosh, this is such a good video package. Like, this is one of the only things that the WWE can do right. And the music, the editing, how epic it feels, and it's how the story is told, the little that it is. Even though there was really no build to this match, they still made it look like there was actually something going on with that video package, which was it was just so good. Like the WWE production team is at the top of their game. Really nice videos. Keep it up.
WWE always produces the best video packages that there are in any wrestling company. They are
Ring of
they
Honor.
are the elite.
Ring of Honor can also do great video packages, like how they tell this and the backstories, but the WWE does it the best. So I think Ring of Honor is number 2 in production of video production.
Yes.
So now Roman Reigns is coming out with Paul Heyman, and Drew McIntyre comes out after him, and then they're in the ring, and they have it. I like McIntyre's entrance, how he has the war skirt and the sword, and I actually saw an article that the sword actually belonged to Vince McMahon. It was actually quite cool to find out that he collects swords. I saw an article saying that.
That's news. That is absolute news to me. I've never heard that.
Anyway, so they're in the ring.
And it's called a kilt.
Kilt. Okay.
They wear them in Scotland.
Yes. So the two guys are having a stare down, really intense stare down, and they're holding their belts close to each other. And then the bell rings, match starts, and they have a nice, slow, average pace start to the match.
It's very methodical.
And I just got a random thought that like Drew is gonna have the height advantage, but still Roman has to win because he's the best looking guy in this match, which is also a problem because it was predictable who was gonna win. Because Roman Reigns can't take a loss anytime soon, not even at WrestleMania. So I'm saying Drew at least has height advantage. He's a little bit bigger than Roman. So then Roman is beating on Drew McIntyre, and they were doing real nice, beating each other up, and I was like, I'm already liking this match, and this is two grown men having a actual fight instead of two average sized guys doing a performance like you see on the indies and NXT and even AEW. I said that I'm already really liking this match. So then Drew makes a nice comeback, and he's beating on Roman, and say like the match is now picking up. It's getting faster. So now they get on the floor. They're fighting on the floor, and then Roman throws Irish whips McIntyre to the steel steps, and then McIntyre literally just falls down and pushes the steel steps out of the way. He pushed them. He didn't even crash into them. And then I was fixing to say that Drew was green. So now they're back in the ring, and Reigns has a headlock on Drew McIntyre, and he gives him some knees to the face, and then gets a nice snap suplex on him for a 2 count, and then McIntyre's on the mat selling, and Roman is giving him forearms, then tries to pin him for a 2 count. Now it slows back down again, and then Paul Heyman is just sitting there. He doesn't try to interfere. What's the point of having a manager if he's not going to interfere in some way? And eventually they do have an interference, or maybe that he stood there and did nothing because of what you said earlier in the backstage promo where Roman was shouting at Jey Uso because he couldn't win by himself. So maybe Roman was trying to prove that he could win by himself. Maybe that's why Paul Heyman was doing nothing. But even if he didn't say that, I still think it's pointless to have the manager there if he's just gonna stand there and do nothing. It's like, and it was the same thing with Omos in the first elimination match at the beginning of the pay-per-view. Omos wasn't even there to help AJ beat SmackDown. So anyway, Roman Reigns is now he's doing his stuff, and then he yanks McIntyre onto the mat, and then I was really noticing that there was really phony, fake crowd noise. And now McIntyre is trying to fight back. And then he Irish whips him, and then Roman hits the ropes, and then he does this really nice looking jumping clothesline. And Roman has some kind of submission hold on him, and they give each other back and forth strikes. And McIntyre makes a nice looking comeback. I even put an exclamation mark because I liked it quite a bit. So then I think it was McIntyre gave him a neck breaker and did a kip up, which was cool. So then he was in the corner fixing to give him a Future Shock DDT, but then Roman counters and tries to give him a Samoan drop, but then the second time he actually does hit the Samoan drop, and it looked really good. He went up, and then he was like, and then it was like I was hearing Michael Cole. I was like, my gosh, Michael Cole is such a bad commentator. I even tweeted about it on, I think, Tuesday, about how bad he was. And he talks to you like you're a little kid, like you're 6 years old. And we'll talk about commentary across wrestling. We've already got a lot of topics to talk about when we actually start this damn thing next month. So then Michael Cole sucks on commentary. But I think this was his best performance in a pay-per-view. He was really fired up and excited. He was yelling because that's what it was like. This match made you want to jump out of your seat because it was so good. And Roman Reigns tries to give him a Superman punch, but then Drew does this real nice spine buster for a 2 count, and then the replay.
And then he does, after he does the spine buster, he does that bridging pin, where he rolls forward into the pin.
Jackknife pin, they called it. So then Corey Graves said that this is the damnedest spine buster I've ever seen. I was like, yes, exactly. You think so now McIntyre throws Roman into the barricade, and then picks him up and throws him into the steps, except Roman actually crashes safely into the steps. And they get back in the ring. Reigns is back in the ring. Drew is still getting in. And then Roman gives him a high kick in the face while Drew is still in between the ropes trying to get back in the ring. And then Roman gives him a right hand. He's next to ropes, and Roman is talking shit about him. How you're the subpar champion here. I'm the guy. I am the guy. You're only number 2. And then Drew makes he got up and did this really nice headbutt, which is apparently called the Glasgow Kiss, to Roman, and then gives him a boot to the face or something. Then gives him a Future Shock DDT, which is his signature.
Oh yeah. And then Paul Heyman was selling this like he had doubts that Roman would. Yeah.
No, he was. I actually saw that in the replay. He was selling how Roman was almost beat by McIntyre, but he kicked out just in time. So, anyway, where was I?
I loved Paul Heyman's reaction because it showed him having doubt that Roman would actually kick out, and I loved that because Paul being with Roman is a statement. Because Paul thinks that Roman is legitimately the head of the table, is the top guy. And he thinks that Roman can easily beat anybody that he wants at any given time. So seeing him like have this shock like reaction saying, no, kick out now, kick out. Like, oh, I love that because like it gives us a new sense of character story from Paul Heyman here. So I loved it.
So now Roman hits the ropes and does a Superman punch, which I thought looked really good. I love when he does that. When he does the Superman punch. To Drew McIntyre, and tries to give him a guillotine submission, which he's won with. And now Drew McIntyre tries to run into the corner, but then Roman gives him a boot, like in the Sasha match. Asuka tried to run into the corner, and Sasha gave her a boot. So now Roman, back to this match, throws Drew McIntyre shoulder first into the ring post, and tries to spear him, but then he reverses into the armbar, and Roman
he reversed it into the Chimera lock.
It looked like an armbar to me from what I saw.
I mean, it technically is an armbar, but it's called the Chimera.
Okay, so anyway, Roman grabs the ropes, and then they're forced to break the hold. Now Roman does a Samoan drop while Drew runs to him, and then he falls onto the announce table, and then gives Drew another Samoan drop, but this time it breaks, and now they're both selling. So I fast forward a few seconds, and then Roman speared Drew McIntyre through the barricade, which was a nice looking spot, and the Michael Cole actually yelled out the same words that I'd written down on in my book here. Spear through the barricade, and they go back into the ring, and I think Roman tries to pin him for a 2 count, and then tries to spear him again, but then Drew kicks him. Now he tries again, and then he actually gets the spear, which looked really good. I wrote in all caps and put exclamation marks because it looked so good. And then a 2 count because it was really starting to get exciting at that point. And now Roman tried to. A problem I had, which is Roman always trying to hit a spear when he doesn't need to. Maybe he needs to work on using a different variety of moves. You were gonna say something?
Yeah, the main problem I had with this match was they had too many finishes being done with too many finishes being out of.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a problem also. So anyway, so Roman tries to spear him again, but then Drew McIntyre gives him a claymore, and then Roman knocks over the referee, and he falls out of the ring, and he's selling. So around this point, I think Jay Uso came out to try and interrupt. He super kicked Drew. The first time he tried to interfere, Drew pushed him away, but then the second time he super kicked Drew, and that's how Roman actually beat. We'll get to that now. But anyway, so a low blow by Roman Reigns, and a nice, another really nice looking Superman punch. It's like, god damn, this match is so freaking good. It's like, and now Roman gets in to the guillotine, but while he tries to get into the lock, they're cooperating. You can see Drew helping Roman to get onto him and lock in that submission move. And Roman was doing the guillotine, and Drew got him to his knees. He tried to get back up, but then he fell down again, and then he passed out. And a referee called the match, and that's it. And Roman Reigns is the winner, and he's the guy in WWE. He was always the guy ever since he's been doing this whole thing for the past 3 months. It's like, my gosh, what a match. What a fight. It's two big grown men having a simulated fight. And Dave Meltzer gives the freaking Young Bucks 5 stars because they do all the moves. I wonder what he gave this match. I'll probably look it up.
Give me one moment and I'll find out.
Oh, okay.
Dave Meltzer, Survivor. Match rating. Let's see here. He gave Roman against Drew a 4.25 out of 5-star match.
Whatever, man. This to me was a 5-star match. Not just the wrestling, but the freaking the psychology and how Roman was beating up Drew McIntyre and talking shit to him and trying to wear him down, not just physically but emotionally, trying to make him give up. But still, Drew McIntyre was willing to go through it all to beat Roman Reigns, and they had a fight. So anyway, the next thing on here.
I just want to quickly point out that, again, as I mentioned earlier, when Roman was doing the backstage promo, it basically made everything that he said completely pointless for having Jey Uso come out at the end and help Roman win when Roman's entire point was about him being able to win by himself.
So basically, you're saying he was a hypocrite for allowing Jey Uso to help him.
Yes. And then Roman, for like the 3rd time now, re-accepts Jey Uso back onto his side. I'm like, what? like Roman has repeatedly stated that Jey Uso is a loser, is a failure, right? So why does he keep giving him the benefit of the doubt? I just
Yeah. So now the other thing on this, the Undertaker farewell. I didn't watch this because I'm not very familiar with the Undertaker. I had heard of him, but I'd never really had any really big memories of the Undertaker because I only really started watching wrestling like last year. So I was wondering if you could review this.
Oh yes. Well, you just mentioned that you started watching wrestling just last year in 2019, right? I've been watching wrestling since March of 2008, being 12 and a half years ago. And I've seen The Undertaker live in person in a WWE event in the UK in 2009. This was 2 weeks maybe after his WrestleMania 25 match against Shawn Michaels, and I've had the experience of seeing The Undertaker live, and holy shit, like it's very, like, he gives off a very special presentation to his character every single time he steps into that ring. Undertaker is an all-time classic wrestler. He is a legend in the business, and the way he went out here was absolutely disappointing.
We're back now. My storage clogged up again. This is the fourth recording now. I think. So you were saying?
Okay. I was saying. Okay. So this starts off with Mike Rome in the ring, right? He then introduces the following names in order into the ring. So first out comes Shane McMahon. Second out comes The Big Show. Third out comes JBL. Fourth out comes Jeff Hardy. Fifth out comes Mick Foley. Sixth out comes the Godfather. Seventh out comes the Godwins. Eighth out comes Savio Vega. 9 out comes Rikishi. 10 out comes Kevin Nash. 11 out comes Booker T. 12 out comes Shawn Michaels. 13 out comes Ric Flair. Woo! 14 out comes Triple H. And 15 out comes Kane.
In his wrestling gear.
Yes. Which I actually appreciated, because that is what he was mainly known with The Undertaker. Anyway, right, all 15 guys here, right, came out. They all made their individual entrances into the ring, right? To do what? They absolutely disappeared, right? I don't understand, right? If they are there to celebrate The Undertaker's career and be there to see him have his retirement speech in the ring, right? Why weren't they there when The Undertaker was there? Why did they leave? Why did they all come out just to not be there when The Undertaker actually came out? I don't understand that. Anyway, we now move on to when Vince McMahon appears, and he says it's now time to say goodbye to the Phenom. I mean to the Phenom, right? And then Vince says, it's basically time to say goodbye to the Undertaker, and then he welcomes the Undertaker down to the ring, and then guess what?
What?
Vince McMahon now vanishes from the ring. Why have him be there if he's not going to be there for when the Undertaker actually gets in the ring? Why bring out those 15 guys earlier just to have them not be there? I don't understand it. And now Undertaker Jesus, the Undertaker actually does make his entrance now, and that's basically it. The Undertaker makes his entrance. He's in the ring, right? He basically says, "The Undertaker can now rest in peace." Right, right, and then he does that pose. He gets a 10-bell salute, which I respected, and then we get a hologram of Paul Bearer, which I really liked because that was very.
That looked cool. That looked cool.
Yeah, that was very respectful for them to have done that, because it's calling to his debut, basically. Speaking of which, why wasn't Ted DiBiase one of the guys who came out, and why wasn't Brother Love there either? I don't understand. But anyway, the Undertaker then leaves the ring, goes backstage, and that is that.
So this
was incredibly disappointing. I didn't see the point of any of this.
Why didn't why didn't this replace the gobbledygook segment? I would have much rather seen this than a giant chicken goofing around.
This, to me, did not feel like a retirement segment. This felt like any random segment happening just for the sake of it happening. I mean, why have those guys come out to the ring to celebrate the career of the Undertaker's career, right? When the Undertaker comes out and they're not there. Like, I didn't see the point of them doing that.
Well, based on your descriptions, I was right to skip that. And had I watched it, I wouldn't have felt farewell either, because I didn't watch Undertaker that much to begin with.
Yeah, well, I've been watching him for the past 12 and a half years, personally. And to see him go out in this way, just, one, it didn't feel right. Two, it didn't really make much sense. And three, it didn't really feel like he was retiring.
That's why he should have fully retired after the Boneyard match at WrestleMania, because I feel like that would have been a good exit for The Undertaker.
The Undertaker should have retired like 10 years ago. Like, he shouldn't even be here. Like,
yeah. But, yeah, so that's the Survivor Series review. If you came for the Survivor Series review, you can go, but we're gonna review one more little thing here. The recent match between LSG, LSG versus Jay Lethal.
yes.
I watched this match because I wanted to see what all the rave about how good Jay Lethal is. I wanted to see him for myself. So that is the reason why I looked at this match on the recent episode of Ring of Honor TV. So earlier I was in the Roman match. I was talking about how good the package was, telling the story, and stuff like that. So this was great as well, because they were telling a story of where these guys were coming from, and they were telling us about, as a new viewer, they were telling me what this LSG guy is all about. Unlike some of the other promotions. I'm recording. Wait, please. Oh my gosh. I put a sign on there that nobody should come in here, because she obviously didn't read it. So anyway, they're telling stories about where these guys came from, how they got into wrestling, what they've been doing the past few years. As he knew, I found that very useful. Unlike some of these promotions like AEW, they just bring these guys in and have them do matches. They don't do any packages. They sometimes sometimes the commentators tell their backstories, but it's already too late, because you're having the guy in the ring, and sometimes some people hate the commentary so bad that they put it on mute, so they might not end up hearing the backstories. Like with Will Hobbs, like he got into wrestling because he liked doing it with his brother, and his brother got shot and killed. So that's why he got into the wrestling business. They should have done a package on Will Hobbs when they brought him in. They shouldn't have just willy-nilly put him on Dynamite. Much less against Brian Cage.
I would just like to point out, that I personally haven't seen anything Ring of Honor in a few years, and the way that they introduced me into this match made me feel very
important. Like they knew that you were a new viewer, that you were gonna watch this for the first time, so you needed to know who the guys were, and why they're here and what they've been doing for the past few years. Just hold on a second.
Okay. As you're doing that, I will just say that the way they presented this pre-match video package, made me, as the audience member watching this, feel prioritized, because most companies, as you've actually stated quite well here, they don't put the audience first. They don't give the message that the audience is the ones viewing the product.
Because promotions like AEW, their audience is made up of all the smart fans that watch the indies. Because they're the ones that AEW is catering to and appealing to. So that's why they don't explain their stuff. But even those smart fans, they wouldn't have known who Will Hobbs is, because they weren't introduced to him. So and much less even a new viewer who's checking out this AEW wrestling wants to see what it's all about. They don't know who the guys are. They don't know what's going on. Yeah. So
I can tell you this now. I learned a lot about who LSG is. Like, for example, I learned how many things here. I learned because I actually made a list of his video package. I learned 13 things about him in like 3 minutes.
more or less.
Okay, so 1, LSG stands for Leon Saint Giovanni.
Yeah.
He played baseball as a child and seemingly into his early teenage years. When he turned around the age of 15, he discovered Ring of Honor from his local city, being Elizabeth, New Jersey, and then he ventured onto the wrestling scene. So he went from baseball to wrestling.
And he said
4.
how that helped him in wrestling, his baseball experience.
Yes. Point number 4 that I learnt about this and about him. 4. He got inspired by Jay Lethal to become a professional wrestler. 5. He's been wrestling for around 10 years, as he said that he has. 6. He began training at the Monster Factory, and then he went on to join the Ring of Honor dojo. 7. He formed a tag team with his partner Shaheem Ali called Coast to Coast. 8. He mentions he's gone up against tag teams such as War Machine, the Young
Viking
Bucks.
Raiders. Oh, those.
War Machine, Young Bucks, Motor City Machine Guns. Point number 9 is that he mentioned that 2019, in his opinion, was his worst year in his career, which I don't know if that's true or not, but that is what he claims. Point number 10. He mentions that anyone new coming to Ring of Honor now will have to prove themselves against him, because a few years ago he was in the position where he had to prove himself to the top guys in Ring of Honor, but now he's one of the top guys, and now he's and now the new guys have to prove themselves to him, which I find very fascinating. Point number 11, he mentions he's studied the moveset of his opponent tonight, being Jay Lethal, for 15 years, and he is prepared to go against him in this match. Point number 12, LSG mentions he's never been in a pure rules match before, but he's prepared to do it. And my final point, being point number 13, is that he mentions that he's always wanted to be Jay Lethal, but now he's going to instead defeat Jay Lethal. And those are my 13 points that I learned about him in this 3-minute video package. Fuck you, WWE. Fuck you.
So at the beginning, I don't really have notes on this match. I don't really have notes on this match. I'm just going off what I remember. So I just summarized. Oh, I thought you disconnected. So I just summarized what happened and what I thought to go into this review. So I'm not gonna go. Hold on. What were you saying?
I do have notes about this match.
I'm
yes.
just gonna say what I think first. I thought this was a good, a pure type match, not the match that I'm used to, like the Tracy Williams. I've been really impressed by him. and his performance in the Pure tournament. You should definitely see him whenever he's on. If I see him in any match against anybody, I'll watch it just to see him there. So anyway, so they have a nice, really slow paced start to the match, and they're not going too fast, not going too slow, and then eventually it picked up. It does just suddenly go. It goes, and then it gets crazy towards the end, and that way it makes a little bit more sense. They were doing some mat wrestling, and then closer to the end of the match, they started doing normal moves, but they weren't doing anything over the top that you see on every single program. And then at the end, it's like, oh my gosh, the time is running out. Somebody needs to come out of this successful, whether it's a Jay Lethal or LSG. So I'm not going to spoil the results as to who won, but somebody won by time limit draw, so I'm going to let you explain exactly what happened.
Well, technically, somebody won via a split decision from the ringside judges who we never actually saw. So that is how that actually ended. The match ended via judges decision, but we never actually saw the judges there at all, so I don't know where that came from. But in regards to the actual match itself, I thought this was quite. Look. I am always going on about the logic of how a wrestling match should be put together, right?
Again, this is why we're called Rasslin and Logic.
Yeah. And this match showed me that this is what I've always wanted a wrestling match to be. This is literally like I was watching this match and I was thinking, hang on, is this being presented out of my mind here? Because this is how I actually envision wrestling to be, right? Like you have a specific set of times you can use a rope break, a specific set of times you can do certain things, right? And if you do it more than those times, then you're basically disqualified. I love the rules of a pure rules match. And the thing about Ring of Honor is that they also have a 20 count out instead of the usual 10, which I find to be a bit fascinating. This match was an actual wrestling match, and that makes me very happy. So, this was a quite technical style of wrestling, which I enjoyed a lot. Each opponent trying to out wrestle the other, trying to get the advantage early on, trying to take down the other opponent to gain the advantage. I really liked this match, and the thing that this match did very, very well is that it protected both guys. So the next time now that we see these two go at it one-on-one, when LSG finally does get the win against Jay Lethal, which he still hasn't had.
By the way,
well, at least I don't think he's beaten him.
I haven't said what I thought about the wrestlers. I thought they were both quite good. LSG showed something, and Jay Lethal was very good. I even tweeted about it, how he did well. So anyway, you were going on.
Oh, I was just saying that this match protected both guys, and the next time that LSG has a one-on-one match against Jay Lethal, it's going to be a much more important win for him next time, because this is building up to him finally getting that big win against Jay Lethal. So I really like the result of this match because of that.
So that's it. That's what yeah, that was a great match, and Survivor Series, it was actually in terms of wrestling a good pay-per-view. Logic, I don't know about you. How do you think the Logic was in that pay-per-view?
Well, considering the fact that basically every single tag made in the elimination tag matches were all illegal tags, like the Logic is basically at a 0.
Okay, so
and for God's sake, Liv Morgan tagged herself in twice at the same time. I don't understand how that was even conceivably able to happen. Like,
so
and just one more thing here. Okay. You remember when Sheamus eliminated Seth Rollins, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Sheamus was technically the legal member of his team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Braun Strowman then made a tag to Matt Riddle, and then somehow now Braun Strowman was made the legal competitor of his team, even though Sheamus is.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
So, Rasslin is 7. Logic, what is the Logic
0.
scale?
Well, I mean, okay. For the elimination tag matches, 0. But for the entire show, I'm going to give the Logic maybe a 3 out of 10.
Okay, so Rasslin 7 out of 10, and Logic 3 out of 10. So they need to work on their Logic. Well, we know that's never going to happen because Vince is running this popsicle stand. So anyway, I enjoyed doing this podcast. It was a really good episode, except from the technical difficulties that we had, having to record multiple footages or recordings. But other than that, I hope you guys all enjoyed this a second pilot episode, and we will fully launch on the 5th of December, Saturday, 5th of December. So mark that down in your calendars. We will be reviewing the most anticipated match, Omega versus Moxley. I don't know if it'll, it's hype from the AEW fans. I don't know how we will what we will think of it. I guess it'll be an okay match because both guys are decent in the ring. So, and we might even talk about some other things. So, like we've also brought up multiple topics that we might touch on in the next episode in the official first episode of Rasslin and Logic. I'll probably cook up some things to talk about other than AEW and NXT. So I hope you guys all enjoyed that. I am Kgabinator and Josh Jenkins up here. We hope. And by the way, happy Thanksgiving to everybody in America yesterday. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we will see you on the official Rasslin and Logic podcast when it debuts Saturday, December 5th on all major podcasting platforms and YouTube. This is Kgabinator and Josh Jenkins signing out. Goodbye.
Bye.